Welcome back to some top tier beyond all reason. With 16 of the highest level commanders loading into the map, the unit limit is set at 32,000. The game, developed by volunteers, open source, free to play, based on total annihilation, but it will cost you a whole chunk of your sanity, even more of your free time. And while you got some of both of those, it'd be awesome if you could smash that like button, maybe even subscribe. Help me kind of the algorithm. And Jimmy, what do we have? 1,152 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully, it's about to get just a little bit better. Because it doesn't matter whether you're a fan of the Armada, the Cortex, or the Legion. The 2 and going on 3 factions and beyond all reason. Because they're all represented here with all these top tier players. Legion is enabled on this Forge, one of the most, I'm not going to say controversial, but I'm going to say dramatic maps in the map pool as it is. As the resources are plentiful, but the social distancing, not so much. The players very close together. Geothermal energy and energy crystals are remarkably prevalent, but with the acquisition of geothermal energy comes the danger of it exploding literally in your face. Of course, the traversable volcano down the center is going to be quite a sticking point for a while until air units are online. And no player wasting time. We have the blue team to the east with 8 players. You got the red team to the west. We'll introduce them as they become relevant. But the Armada Rovers making their way up Cotton Buds with the Legion commander, going to be knocking them down to start. Just the first few scout units happening by. The resurrection bots sucking out those energy crystals, those valuable minerals, and transferring them into the bank. So that way you don't have to invest nearly as much in energy production early on. You essentially just grab it off the map. The energy is almost unlimited in many forms. Meanwhile, those Armada ticks coming by. A Cortex commander also looking to intercept. The Rover's not nearly enough to deal with this right now. Meanwhile, Slick Like Vic, the highest level player. Fun fact, based on rank are the player colors and beyond all reason in your default game. The highest ranked player will be the closest to the most primary color, whether it be blue or red. So you can judge them based on your color. But maybe we shouldn't do that. That has never stopped a lobby before. The ticks in behind, being as annoying as their namesake would imply. The Cortex grunts on the front line. Both sides just kind of scrambling to get those little advantages. The metal extractors made out of paper mache, but with their income, makes it a lot easier to defend them. Already Cotton Buds has come down. He's putting up some of the heat ray towers and trying to grab one of the forward metal extractors. Now, of course, and beyond all reason, vision is key. Knowledge is power. And it's easily denied, especially in the early game. Even with radar, the vision is very limited for both sides. So even though we can see the potential mistakes or drama incoming, that doesn't mean the players can. Now, some of the Legion napalm artillery going to be zoning things out. Very annoying to deal with, though. Definitely not high DPS. The Legion faction has been coming together. The first faction and beyond all reason unique to the game. Cortex and Armada, to my understanding, based on their total annihilation counterparts. And most of the units are kind of rough equivalents to what was seen in that game. Whereas the Legion is something entirely new. The models, as well as the design. Though it has things that fill similar roles, it's all about fire and fury. And collateral damage is just a suggestion. Meanwhile, Duloc just roasting right now. Pro Praetor, the barrage is really living up to their name. Meanwhile, Polly's just enjoying some tasty minerals on the side. They do gather energy, not metal, but it's a process. In this push, already both commanders at 20% pushed back. Almost nothing to match them. The ballista from the Legion, and don't talk to me or my son ever again. Ballista, the Legion's version of the rocket bot. More expensive, but the rockets are physically larger. And we all know that means better. Of course, it's not necessarily about how big the rockets are, it's about how you use them. And almost everything in Beyond All Reason is affected by projectile physics, range drop-off, all those fancy mathematical things that aren't just asking you to press one more like button. Meanwhile, some satyrs, the plasma bots from the Legion, fighting against the Cortex brutes. Looks like outranging slightly, but really the push from Autopilot, Rompy, and Slick Like Vic. But here comes some Martyrs! Oh, it's so close! Oh, wow! The Martyrs living up to their name, and just like that, creating a pool of lava. It looks like the map is edited so that lava is lower than it usually is, but still, literally a pool of fire with the explosion. The lava lurking just beneath the surface. Wow, what a play. I believe Skag coming in with a group of Martyrs suicide bombing aircraft. Very cheap and very squishy. But apparently not squishy enough, as there's effectively no anti-air in the early game. At least they weren't expecting it. 1 or 2 anti-air turrets could have shut that down, but there was no indication that was going to happen. The surprise attack, more than enough. And, well, it appears he got handed a commander. I think they just salvaged. When a commander dies, it technically can be resurrected by resurrection bots. But on the open field, it's very risky to do so. So it's usually preferable to just grab that extra metal. Each commander worth 1,250 metal, which is not a small amount in the early game. Let's see, can we actually get the fancy spectator? There you go. We got metal per second, energy, build power, which is how fast you can jam that metal and energy together to make the things you actually want. Some of the drone defense towers here, the Hive, I think appropriately. The Cacophony turret, helping to hold the line. Aircraft connecting. Meanwhile, I think artillery as well. I mean, besides the ground-based. A lot of high projectiles coming in. The standoff. The snipe on that commander has permanently altered the battlefield. Though it doesn't look like... I'm not sure what's happening with the lava. It looks like it's at a weird level where some of the time it may actually damage units that walk over it. And another bombing run. Gonna be targeting Ragnar. Fighters on point. The shots. But just a couple fighters able to slice him out of the sky before a critical mass. Fool me once, I won't get fooled again. Still dangerously close, though. Those Martyrs finding a lot of success. You only get one shot, though, one opportunity. Will you capture it? In this case, it looks like they let it slip, but the napalm creating its best impression of the lava beneath. Another commander taken down? And who was this? Was that blue? Yes! Watch me do this. Maybe shouldn't have watched that. But Polly getting out in front. Duloc down to 10%, taking big hits. Another commander down to the south. Right. Oh, whoa, what was that? Oh, the Cerberus geothermal plasma artillery battery. Or Big Boomba for short. No, not for short. I made that up on the spot. I thought it'd be funnier than it was. It wasn't. It was still pretty funny, though. It's like a 3 out of 8. So, the Cortex are able to make a geothermal, which is usually a vulnerable point, into a plasma battery. It generates energy, still, like most geothermals, just not nearly at the rate that a more risky yet lucrative geothermal might. Like, we have just the basic one at 300. The Tier 2, 1250, compared to the Cerberus at 450. And what do we have? More commanders going down. The southern front around the volcano is brutal for both sides. A whole bunch more craters being created. The barrages falling back, the artillery, but some fiends, Tier 2, hitting the field. So much fire on either side. Meanwhile, bombing run down the front. Gonna try to target that, a Tier 2. No, just a Tier 1 vehicle plant at the front. But the bombers making their way through. Where are the fighters to intercept? The geothermal. Here come the fighters. I don't think they had vision of the Tier 2 geo. I don't think they would have taken it down either way. So the fighters are able to intercept in time. The Cerberus trying to smash its way in. The Fiend literally hiding in a corner. But the Cerberus will eventually hit it. Oh, direct hit. Unfortunately, unable to escape. Now let's get that full overview. Why have a mini-map when you just have the map? So far, in terms of metal, I think metal production usually a little better, just to get the overall idea, than current metal, because that could be affected by the reclaim of wreckage on the field. But metal production, marginally to the red team. Energy going to blue overall. Though, it looks like... Oh, wow. The Legion Advanced Geos. I love that model, by the way. Destroyed. Yeah, who cares? I mean, we should probably find out who that was. But Legion, all the models being filled in. Okay, well, look at the commanders. Oh, wow. Also, tried to grab whatever they can. This was Polygon from the Eastern team, but the Satyrs are marching through. They may actually burn their fancy little feet on the lava created by their former commander. Chasing down Commander Cloaks. More coming down from the high ground. Artillery landing on either side. Also, on the run, Holander as well. Holander? There could only be one. Or maybe a bunch, really, whatever you're into. Meanwhile, oh, collapsing indeed. As the line across the field. The South is holding, but the blue team has broken through to the north, and the geothermals and tier 2 plants are potentially vulnerable, which could be absolutely devastating. But a big bombing run coming across the volcano. Looking to get on top of the geos? Yes, they've targeted it directly. Is that enough? And it's close. It's not close enough. Targeting the construction turrets on it. Too strung out. The fighters knocked out several. What do we got going on? Up to the north side. So many extra pools of lava now. There are some spiders on the high ground. The volcano starting to become infested by them. Actually, the Legion technically has an infester unit, which is not the one my StarCraft friends are thinking of, but actually works kind of similar. We'll see if we get an opportunity to check it out. Meanwhile, the Zagreus, the Resbots from the Legion, just going about their business. While the rest of the field, it looks like stabilized somewhat. A line of no, those aren't gunslingers. Those are the Phalanx, which have extra defense while their shields hold. And then, once they lose enough HP, their shields get stripped away and they become more vulnerable. But a great frontline option for blasting through Tier 1 and Tier 2. Meanwhile, though, the Fiends, we've got more missiles coming out, but the Fiends are just running by. They're going to get towards the back line. And that could be disastrous. A Tier 2 air plant is on the way, but nothing to match it. The Fiends are going to redirect down the ramp for the geothermals. The artillery on either side, Sheldon is getting obliterated by the Cerberus. But the Fiends have gotten into the geos. Oh no, this is a disaster. But the infestors. So the infestors can reclaim and make more of themselves. Essentially, they turn the wreckage into more infestors. They do me. Oh wow, the bombing run, direct hits. There goes the geo. The economy, the bombers themselves, and the entire center line obliterated. The defenses were crippled by the Fiends and the constant run-bys, but it takes the air to break them, and an entire wave of construction turrets. Wow, and just like that, a 40% energy lead for the blue team. There might be long-range napalm. I've never seen this one in actual use. Let's see it. The napalm launcher on the front lines. This is the equivalent of the tactical missile or the EMP. Where's it going? Where's it going to land? Onto the geothermal. Taking it out. Thankfully, it wasn't a tier 2, so not too much investment gone, but wow, that's pretty great. Looks like it recharges relatively quick. Some more pop-up artillery. And some Mantis drone carriers as well. The mobile drones here. Drones like they're essentially the interceptors of, they're exactly what you think they are. They just kind of swarm around at great range, but are relatively, well, they're super fragile, but very cheap. Meanwhile, the Grunt's trying to bash forward. Goblins looking to match him, but the Goblins pretty mediocre in turn. Very cheap, but just looking to fill the gap. So it's going to come down to the south. If Autopilot and Slick Like Vic can break through, because the resource advantage is dramatically in favor of the blue team. But we saw how quickly the tide could turn. One bombing run. Because the energy is tied up in these most vulnerable of potential buildings, the geothermals all connected at the center effectively. Oh no! A few enterprising goblins will sneak by, and there's no units back here to deal with it. Looks like they got deconstructed by the turrets. Reclaimed while alive, and now just for their base parts. So able to hold on, but quite a stream of Gerblins on its way across the map. The economy stabilized somewhat. The blue team still with a clear advantage, but not overwhelmingly so. Drones fighting against, what are those? Stealth fighters out of the Armada. The drone swarm trying to chase them. Not finding a lot of success. The lava pools of dead commanders making the ground treacherous. Even for the well-armored phalanxes who don't seem to care too much. Their shields get stripped away. But many of them able to brave the front line. The drones behind. And is there any sort of heavy units to match this? Oh, there's some Shivas. Tier 3 mechs from the Cortex. But honestly, the phalanxes are kind of tanking it. That's their whole job. And a catapult. Mass rocket bot. It turns around. It's going to unleash a salvo onto the drone carriers, as well as the barrages. Keeps them at bay for now. The Tier 3, the inevitable conclusion of such an economic lead. Looks like the blue team has gone for Prudes, a non-explosive geothermal plant. Has just over half the energy production, but has the benefit of not exploding and take your entire economy with it. And aptly named as well. A wave of grunts is transferring to the south. It looks like the northern side is stabilized. Energy production is now in favor of red, which is kind of crazy considering everything that's happened thus far. They've rebuilt the advanced geothermals. The Prometheus heavy assault tanks with their heat rays. They gotta be careful that not too many teammates get in front of them. The grunts, pawns looking to match them, but the Armada, the sheer amount of grunts is streaming over the field. Many of them through the lava, and they won't make it to the other side, but the Shivas are forced back. The march of the grunts, sometimes if they're too focused on their fancy units, good old grunts are enough to overrun. And the Shivas are not enough. The catapult is not enough. The static defense starting to thin them out. The damage is being done. The Shivas and the drones behind. It's finally starting to stabilize. What is that? What is that up there? We have a bombing run from Sus Cheese, who's been relatively quiet, looking for an opportunity, looking to go for the Geos. He's gonna be knocked down by anti-air options. What is the count? We got 4 commanders left for the red team, only 2 for blue. The only goal, technically, is to destroy your opponent's commanders. So, right now, the red team is much closer to that goal. Where are those last 2 commanders? We got Polly, as well as Pro Praetor, who's cloaked in a random location, starting to realize the danger. The Phalanx is moving up to the high ground. Ragnar moving in to defend. A disintegration gun. The D gun could be enough. He's gonna hold the high ground for now. The high ground is very valuable, both for vision, for accuracy, for traversal, and for emotional damage. Another wave of grunts, but the original wave was broken. Though it seems you could see the results here. Multiple metal extractors, geothermals, a lot of the front line of the base. We now have some Medusa long-range salvo rocket tanks. Great for picking off, well, anything. The thing is, the catapults outrange pretty much all of this. For the low cost of 5,000 metal. Autopilot lining up. He's gonna hit the D-guns, takes out 2 Shivas, makes that 3 tier 3. But he's getting he's not gonna make it. There's still half a dozen. Commander count. Down. Wait, they're still at 4? They must have resurrected one. Oh, they may have resurrected one of their opponents. Alright, reprogrammed it for their side. I believe whatever commander died over here has become Rompy's now, as he was able to get the resurrection bots there. But some phalanxes moving in. Roughnecks trying to intercept, but barely chipping the paint on many of those. Kamikaze is in position for the D-gun if things get desperate. But he is risking his potential life as well, though it's a relatively safe location where he could get resurrected. The battle on the southern side of the volcano will continue, though. Legion long-range artillery against Cortex, with some more Legion coming down. The Arquebus railguns. Relatively low damage, but very direct. And they're technically spiders as well, which means they can work well on the volcano. Kamikaze getting overrun. Thanatos rocket bots. More Legion helping to push forward. Commander destroyed. Commander taken down to the north. 3-2. Things devolving or evolving, depending on how you want to define it. That constant chaff thrown in. The north is almost entirely breaking, but almost everything's getting thrown into this front. A Bastion laser defense, or heat ray defense. Heat ray is just like a laser that's trying too hard, effectively. Alright, don't get pedantic. Meanwhile, just groups of grunts and pawns in the front, trying to draw artillery fire away from the more valuable targets. Potentially draw friendly fire in as well. The phalanxes and the Thanatos being deconstructed. Unfortunately, though, well, that hero pitbull cannon holds the line and keeps some of the economy alive. But blue now has ground out a lead in the energy. Metal is a little closer overall, but ever since taking out those geos, it's been a precarious position for the red team. But they're starting to really solidify. Both sides, long-range plasma cannons. The basilisks. Not the super version that costs infinite money and never seems to complete until you want to win the game. But the more practical, cheaper, yet incredibly... What is the range? The range of the basilisk. Let's see. Oh, it's so far. Technically, they could hit the last commander. Though that commander, I don't think, is actually running out of energy and his cloak is running out while he's dancing idly. So I'd be a little careful with that. Cloak does cost energy to maintain. It costs more if you're moving. Now, some hoplites sprinting by through the breach. And it looks like even filling in some of the metal extractors to the north. The red team unable to make any headway on the southern front. Now a pulsar from the Armada. The Arquebus just chewing through the grunts as they get anywhere close. Stronghold gunships. Gonna knock out the hoplites. But the fact they're getting this close. The red team clearly pushed back into a corner. But the economy and beyond all reason isn't that limited to location, though it makes you infinitely more vulnerable to be in such a concentrated area. And here comes some Martyrs as well. A big hit over the top. The Martyrs on the front line gonna take out some of the long-range napalm. We saw them earlier, still being used. Static defense doesn't run away very fast. More air trying to hold the gap. A bulwark is put up, but they're struggling for energy to fire their energy weapons. Not a great place to be. The northern front well solidified. Watch me do this with some advanced fusion reactors right next to the advanced aircraft plant. A potentially juicy target if they could ever just get anything over there. Unfortunately, the red team is struggling to hold the line. You know, if it's gonna go, it's all gonna go. An advanced fusion being built by Holander with his resurrected commander. Still 3-2 for red. So, oof. Another knocked out of the sky. Aircraft being taken down. Anti-air in position. Oh, you know, putting all these converters right next to each other seems a little on the risky side of things. But Pulsar's holding. The line of Arquebus is helping clear out all the chaff. Though they're not exactly the tankiest unit. And quite expensive. 800 metal apiece. Crumble easily when directly confronted. Like most people who play RTS games. Don't judge. Like and subscribe. Pulsar's lancing through. It is an energy cost. Or starlights, rather. Pulsars and starlights, as well as bulwarks. A whole cornucopia of static defense and nearly static units. Oh no, the lava is burninating the Cerberus. That is unfortunate. What landed there? Something exploded and took out enough of the ground that the lava will eventually take out the Cerberus. 230 kills! Have to pay respects. And it's fired its final shots as the lava pool rises. A huge bombing run. The Harbingers, mine layer bombers from the Legion, now strafing over the field. Looks like they're lining them up right on the basilisk. They can drop them into the shields and get the backline. They don't manage to hit the advanced fusions, but I think they hit some of the radar pinpointers. I think he was just eyeballing it there. Meanwhile, not slouchy on the economy, autopilot with double advanced air plants building up Phoenixes, heavy assault heat ray bombers. Ragnar still desperately. Ragnar's been jammed into a corner. All right, but you ain't taking him to Valhalla yet. He's held for this long. Eventually, he will be taken down. He's been completely isolated from his team. But there are some Razorbacks over to the left side. Are the Phoenixes coming across the top? Yes, strafing. They're cresting the volcano. The Phoenixes over the top. They're going for the economy. The fighters engaging. Legion fighters on either side. Strafing some of the Geos. Swings around onto the advanced fusions. Wow. Just flailing those heat ray bombers. And he's gonna come around for another pass. It looks like it was cleaned up. The fusions are taken down. But was it enough? That was a big investment. Meanwhile, the Myrmidons with a wide array of weapons, but maybe not enough to stop the Shivas. Cluster artillery raining down. But the blue team, a volley of basilisk fire coming across the map. Another explosion. Commander count still... Is Ragnar still alive somehow? I don't believe so, but they still have 3 commanders, which vexes me. The red team has done a great job of keeping their commanders alive. Though, and now some of the stronghold gunships, they double as transports. A lot of the factions have some strong utility in their transports in the mid-game. But, oh, the Basilisk still raining down with no real answer. The shields are not enough. They get overwhelmed with just a few plasma cannons. Especially if you don't have the energy to maintain. Just crashing in. But these strongholds... Okay, where's the anti-air? Hello? They're knocking on the door, but... Where's the answer? The transport gunships, uncontested. Some Olympus on the high ground. He could go... He's going for the plasma cannons, which seems ambitious with the anti-air minigun. Maybe the... Yeah, these are the Olympus firing as well. Legion. Little less accuracy. It fires off a cluster artillery bolt as opposed to a more directed plasma cannon that we see there. So, spreads the love over a larger area. Much like your mother. Meanwhile, Praetorian, Legion's second largest mech, surrounded though by a whole bunch of the Karis heavy assault tanks. The Praetorian, more of a workhorse, not as great for punching through as the Soul Invictus. But I'm hard pressed to see the red team turning this around anytime generally. The plasma cannons keep pushing them back into an increasingly uncomfortable corner. The lava pools are making ground assaults difficult. Now, okay, a lot of the plasma cannons apparently getting caught on the volcano or firing at units on it. Get a bit of a different perspective here for a moment. Oh, huge shots. The plasma cannons lancing out. Another volley past Mount Olympus. I think trying to use the extra range from the high ground to really extend it. Sharing tier 3 units to the top player here. Vic will take control and immediately run them into the lava. But, you know, it's just a bit of a... just for funsies. Just a taste. Now, the energy with all those fusions coming online. Whoa! Another tier 1 push. The pawns are marching. But the Razorbacks uniquely suited to cutting them down. The hoplites are pretty good at it too. Both sides with relatively low damage, fast-firing weapons that are great for chewing up masses of units. Not as good for taking down the stronger ones, but not too much offering on that side. But just, like, metal production and energy production overall has gone to the blue team, but they haven't yet closed it out. And they technically have less commanders. Not that that's a major factor at this stage. The Karis tanks slowly, oh so slowly, but surely making their way up. And Poly doesn't look like this might be a D-gun opportunity or a disaster. Oh, wow, they are just shredding. The grunts are disintegrating. Wow, when they say anti-swarm tank, I feel like that's somehow underselling it. Meanwhile, Poly trying to deal with this. Oh, the commander getting targeted dangerously close. Here come the mosquitoes. The mosquito swarm should be enough to take this down. The Legion gunships. Meanwhile, though, more tier 3 battling it out. Praetorians and Javelins up against Razorbacks from the Armada. And a few phalanxes. It looks like he just resurrected a bunch of the units to join in. Myrmidon alongside it. A few drones. He put his drone... Wait. They're the all-terrain drone carriers. So the Myrmidons have effectively every weapon. They got drones. They got plasma cannons. They got lasers, air missile launchers. I mean, they don't have a lot of anything, but they have a little bit of everything. I think appropriately named. Meanwhile, the mosquitoes flocking across the field. A huge bombing run, though. Hits the fusions in the corner. The collateral damage is every bomber. But actually, red just ticked into the lead for energy. The bombers slipped by the corner of the map because we all know beyond all reason maps are indeed flat. Well, I mean, give or take. Some nice curves on this map, if you know what I mean. But the air able to slip by. Just a bunch of scout drones. Tier 1 here. Just, I think, intending to see whatever's on the front line. Less intent on getting a bunch of damage done. But that bombing run just put the red team back on the map economically. Despite the fact that geothermals are completely barren. To the north, it's 2 commanders apiece. Vic is cloaked in the center of everything, trying to build another Cerberus in a precarious position that's clearly very close to the lava. An attempt at a resign from the red team. Is it there yet? It might be about to. The fusions! The bombs land! Very clearly a dangerous position. But not enough of them. I think the game would have ended right there if they did. But now you can spread out your fusions. But that reduces the efficiency of your construction turrets. And that's the trade-off. Is you can build the advanced fusion reactors and other such things. And they will chain react if they explode. But it will also take significantly longer. Maybe inordinately so, to build them all spread out. And it's a lot harder to defend individuals. So they're putting all their massive nuclear energy eggs in effectively one basket. The red team has to try something. And this is it. Another geothermal. Exploderated. Meanwhile, the Olympus still firing. They don't run out of ammo. It only costs energy. Some firing back. The Astreus. Long range. Essentially an Olympus on very stubby legs. Firing a similar sort of projectile over a similar sort of range. The fighters of sus cheese trying to protect whatever they can. Overall, the fact that the red team has been able to restabilize in any way is impressive. That they've still got a long way to go if they want to turn this around. Of course, and beyond all reason, that long way can be a single bombing run. And speaking of, where's the vision? What does it look like? This is the full team vision right now. What they don't know can very much hurt them. Coming in for another round. Most of the energy is to the north. He's leading with the fighters. 1, to engage enemy fighters, and 2, to scout for targets. Actually targeting the bombers, which means that the Legion fighters will win the day and the bombers will break through. Takes out a line of the energy. Another run? Is it enough? Oh, landed on the converters, but doesn't get the chain reaction onto the fusions. A strong attempt, but the blue team, it seems, have learned their lesson. Now, a Tyrannus battlecruiser. The flying fortress from the Legion to hold. But has a lot of damage, a lot of options. But it's not quite... Is that a Juggernaut? The iconic laser. The Juggernaut still. The strongest unit individually. The Cortex. Trying to bash his way through. There's only 2 commanders left for the red... Well, 3 for the red team. Make that 2. Self-destruct to wipe out a wave of goblins. But the Juggernaut is blasting. More Tyrannus. Meanwhile, a Soul Invictus is on the field. The rough equivalent from the Legion. Heat rays across the board. The Juggernaut more for punching through defenses, whereas the Soul Invictus is better suited to taking out large groups of even stronger units. Maybe just not things like Juggernauts or Titans. But it's gonna try its hand at the Praetorians, which are sneaking by near the volcano. Tyrannus trying to hold. Jug here. Astraeus. Meanwhile, that Soul Invictus. The Heat Ray just staying on target. A demon following the Juggernaut. Some fighters overhead to try to knock out the Tyrannus. Very good at their jobs. The fighters move in to intercept, but it's already too late for the flying fortresses. Soul Invictus already with 55 kills. But the Juggernaut. The Myrmidons on the high ground just raining down artillery and drones on everyone in the nearby area. And, well, there is a clear weak point in the base, and the Juggernaut is headed right for it. Committing one of the 2 remaining commanders to taking out the Juggernaut with a disintegration gun may be necessary, but is it worth it? Oh no. The commander was spotted before it even got close. It's gonna be bruised, not dead yet. Multiple Soul Invictuses, but the Myrmidons just effectively like trolling them from the high ground, raining down with those plasma cannons. The Jug and everything in front. Still 2 commanders apiece. We saw Pauli in a precarious position, but demons sneaking by. A wave of Bastion defense. They can't let them touch. Those converters will go up and everything else goes with them. The red team. The commander in the corner. The Juggernaut closing in. And what's left? The Juggernaut. Well, the demons find the commander. And then there was one. The bastions burn through. They actually take down their own construction aircraft. I don't think that's enough damage to stop the Jug. The ticks will get by. There go the construction turrets, the converters, and gimme the fusions. It's taking... And down they go. What a turn. Well, not so much a turn, but almost a turnaround. Unfortunately, losing that economy early, despite the efforts later, not enough to turn it around. And eventually, it will cost them everything. The mine layer bombers at point blank, right on top of the fusions, and there they go. A strong effort. Self-destructing their geothermals and fusions, and that's the game is over. Polygon doing a great job of destroying resource production. Sus cheese getting too dangerously close. Holander, great with the resources in autopilot. With the sheer amount of units, those Legion aircraft actually racking up the most kills. Closely followed by Slick Like Vic with his very strong army across the board. A solid 8v8. Nothing special, just what you'll see every day. And beyond all reason. So, thank you to the players. I do like the map. I hope the skybox eventually gets updated, but the lava pools creating such drama. Legion being enabled. I know it's not entirely finished or balanced yet, but I think it's really cool to see 3 factions instead of just 2. Especially since Legion has such unique aspects. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it made your day just a little bit better. If you got the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon, YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free. At least for now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. Stay unreasonable.